Hi, I'm Mindy Klein, and I am the principal at Centerville Primary Village North.
Hi, John Carroll. I'm the coordinating principal at Centerville High School.
So not sure if you know, but both PVN and PBS have the tagline, "Where Wonder Begins." And I think that says a lot about our mission, which is really to help kids find the joy and the love of learning. We hope that starts in preschool and grows all the way up until they get to you. Character education is just as equally important as teaching kids to read, write, and learn mathematics.
You know, Mindy, when you said where wonder begins, my first day in this district, I was at PVN, which was CKV at the time. That was the first time I realized our school district was special. Like, they created special buildings to get kids into the schools and off to a great start. And I've tried to borrow many of your things, like where wonder begins and your respect, responsibility, and citizenship mantra for the high school, because I think the character development and who they are as people when they leave here is just as important as the academic preparation we have. We've been known for amazing academic preparation, but my goal has been to make sure that we graduate the best people into our communities that we can. I think that's what makes our school district special.
Absolutely, from age 3 to age 18 or 19, or even 22.
Mindy, what do you think it is that sets Centerville City Schools apart from all the other schools?
Well, I know at the elementary and the primary buildings, we really work on growing good humans, right? People that are going to give back to their community and to the world. I think too, at PVN, we do a lot of work around, you mentioned the 3 big words. We did change one of those words. It's respect, responsibility, and gratitude as part of that new Character Strong curriculum that I think is growing up into the high school. But also we do a lot of service projects. In school, we have a service night every other year where parents and families come together so that we can really give back to our community and show our community how much we appreciate them, but also teaching the kids, again, their impact on the world around them.
At graduation each year, you get them at the beginning, I get them walking across the stage. I do reference the fact that our school district has such a big heart. It's got a big service heart, and it does so much for people in our community and beyond. And I think about, obviously, the connection to Spirit Chain, our kids, not the adults, but the kids organized to raise $131,000 for charity, and I just think that's so amazing. And it's hard to explain to people who aren't in the system. Like, we all went to school somewhere, and some were lucky enough to go here, but then that's what you know. Others, they go to schools and that's what they know. It's hard to explain to them what sets us apart and what we're trying to do. And I think it's most obvious when we get new teachers from other school districts, and they come in and they're like, whoa, because the academic rigor is higher. The focus on developing good humans is there. And that's not always the focus in a lot of schools. And that pans out at the high school in all the programs we have. And that's what I'm trying to protect, because those programs all work together to develop good humans, and they just have lots of different avenues to pursue it. So, Mindy, Elk Pride never dies. I know it means different things to the different levels here, but can you kind of describe, it's probably going to be hard, but give it your best shot to describe what's it like when you're inviting new kids and their families into the school district? I know what it's like for me when they're graduating and leaving, but what, talk about Elk Pride and inviting families and getting new students every year and what it means to start their educational journey.
Yeah, I think each year in the spring when we do kindergarten screening, opening the doors and seeing those new, fresh little faces come through, just so excited to come to school and see what school's all about. There's nothing like it. And then I think that first day of school, establishing, as they get off the buses, they get out of the cars, hugs, high fives, things that help them to feel a sense of belonging within our school is something that I know at PVN we're really proud of. And I think then making those relationships, building those relationships with our families, because guess what? That's the first impression their parents, not only the kids, but their parents have of our schools. So starting to be able to build what that relationship with Centerville Schools is going to look like for the next 12 years, it's crucial.
When I worked in curriculum for those few years, before coming back to the high school, some of my favorite times was starting the school year, and all we were doing was helping with buses, getting kids on the right bus and getting them home. But they all showed up so happy. and so ready. And that's always been a challenge, I think, for me, is can we make people feel like they want to come to high school and be that excited and happy?
Bottle it up when they're little.
Right. The interesting thing for me is, towards graduation, the entire month of May, you're just ramping up to get to that big moment. And it feels the same way. The families are all there, they're joining us, we're celebrating together. And I'm always, I've been emotional at some commencements, you've seen it.
Yep.
A little embarrassing. But because it's such an important thing for our community and for our families. And it's such a powerful day. It's a huge celebration. And it's just fun going around getting pictures with all the kids afterwards. Like, you get all the hugs coming off the bus. I get all the pictures at graduation. That week celebrating our seniors is so much fun because they've worked so hard. And I've seen many of them come in when I was in curriculum that were like this big, and now they're heading off into the real world.
Proud, so, right?
Yeah, it's
that
tremendous pride. Tremendous pride.
Elk pride never dies.
Never dies. So you graduated from Centerville and you were a student here. So, what are the highlights for you from the time you were a student through your 34th year in education, your 35th year in education, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 34.
What are the highlights?
So I think going back to, you mentioned the spirit chain earlier when we were talking, and actually it was my graduating class, our class officers, in the fall of '85. I was in '86, go 86ers. Yeah. In the fall of '85, there was a huge earthquake in Chile, and we started Spirit Chain. I think we raised like $2,000 and beat Fairmont, who raised like $1,600. But that's when that tradition started. So it's been really cool to watch it evolve. Awesome. My daughter won one of the Spirit Queens, so that really pride really ran deep. Yeah. And then have kind of watched it ebb and flow over the years, and was thrilled when we came back and beat Fairmont this year, over $100,000. Right. Amazing. Yes. And also, not only did we win Spirit Chain, but we also won that football game, which was a pretty good night for Centerville, for sure.
Good night, yeah.
A couple other things that I think about as highlights for me, you watch them I was a former first grade teacher at Klein, and watching those little biddies, my very first grade class now is one of your people. Yeah. And he teaches for you, but is also the head football coach. And just watching, your kids kind of grow up and grow into those leadership positions is really rewarding. And then, of course, one of my personal highlights from Primary Village North is when we were recognized as a 2014 through 2024. We've continued to keep up with that award as a National School of Character. That's awesome. Which, again, I think comes back to what we were talking about earlier, just making sure that we continue to grow great human beings.
Yeah. If we can get through a lot of the state mandates, I would love for the high school to be a National School of Character. I know it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
I remember when Morgan raised $12,000 for Spirit Chain, and I never thought anybody would break the record. But that's another thing about the legacy of Centerville, is that our kids elevate and set a standard. Yeah. And then we had two girls raise $24,000
doubled
this
it.
year.
It's crazy.
So I never thought I would see it. But I think that's another thing that makes Centerville unique, is that's what drew me to the district. See, I didn't go here. I went to a neighboring school district, but I knew when I was going through all my observations through schools in the area, and I started looking for a job, I knew I wanted to work in Centerville. But I knew that hundreds of people applied for every position in Centerville, and so when I got the job, I felt like I didn't feel like I hit the lottery. I felt like I had to prove myself. Yeah. And I think when I mentor new teachers coming in, I just try to transmit that legacy to them. It's different here. You have to set the bar higher. You have to work harder. You have to dedicate more and commit more. And I've been able to really poach really good teachers from other school districts up until like last year. It's been really hard to do that now. But I hope that we can continue to do that, because we've been able to hire the best and train them and get great results while we do it. And when I think about, you mentioned all the milestones in your life, I think I was a coach of Science Olympiad, and a big milestone for me was, believe it or not, we weren't national champions. We were second in the nation by the smallest margin ever. But the pride that I felt for what our kids did, and that was huge to me. And then I think about Spirit Chain, obviously, that's a huge pride moment for me. But honestly, there's also the biggest pride moment for me is getting that kid across the stage that wasn't going to get across. There's something like magical about taking somebody in who just really is not on track to graduate and working with them and getting them there. And that takes an entire like team of people. Like it's amazing I think about the times we've done it over and over and over again. I think the School of Possibilities, we're graduating like 20, 30, 40 kids a year that were not on track and really had little hope of graduating. But because our community dedicates the resources to do it, we get those kids through so that they can enter the next phase of their life with the best possible situation possible.
Takes a village.
It does take a village. Two villages.
Right.
In elementary schools and
Middle schools and the big school.
And the big school, yeah.
Our community's really been built around the pride of our schools, our libraries, our parks, our residents, and it really is collectively all of our responsibility to make sure that we continue to get things right here in Centerville, in all of those entities that make us the strong community that we are.
And I think about like just the legacy, and the first thing that comes in my mind back to your gratitude prompt is just to say thank you to our community. Our community for generations has built what we have. And you look at what we're building out in our community too in a lot of other ways with, you know, Uptown, right?
Benham's Grove,
all those things, Oak Grove Park. Our community continues to get it right, and it's our generation's job to continue that legacy for the kids. I drove by Oak Grove and I saw all these little kids out playing soccer and their families there. And all I could think about when it comes to this levy and this vote is, will those children have the same opportunity that the children that are walking off across the stage this year are going to have? And the harsh reality is the kids walking across the stage this year had reduced opportunities because of the levy failures going into this year. And so it's just critical for the legacy of our community to keep this ready for the next generation, for us to continue to support the schools and the parks and the libraries, our police and fire, just like
absolutely.
It's different in our community.
My kids benefited from the next generation, as you mentioned, and I don't have kids in the system anymore. I'll continue to give back in every way that I can to make sure that our community and our schools stay strong. And I think what's going to be absolutely crucial is everybody digs as deep as they possibly can and thinks about what's going to be right for our kids, because really in the end, that's what this is about. See how it goes.
Okay. Just say random things.
Okay. Random things. Hello.
Random things.
Hi, Mindy. How are you?
Great. How are you, John?
I'm fine.
Bloopers.
We're live.
We're live. We're live.
We are alive. You got a prompt?
I was waiting on her. Am I good?
Yeah. You won't have to work too hard on the bloopers. Cut. Can you make that stop?
So I'm going to do you line.
Yeah.
Yep. Give us the line.
Oh, I'm so glad I